Good evening, Book War followers. Oh, and I just popped my necklace, so that was fun. Oh, oops. I'll have to see if I can get that fixed later. Um, just waiting here to get Hattie on. 1 second. Oops, wrong button. Oh, there we go. Hey, sis.
A little too much angle here. There we go. Okay, there. You're like seeing me from like my mouth down. That was all. No, that's not it. Okay, wrong way. Okay, there we go. How's that?
Good.
Okay.
One of those nights.
I know, right? And I just realized I didn't make sure that my phone was on the right network. So if it goes out, I will change networks and we'll come back.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. I'm just going to move mine down just a little bit too. There we go. It looks like it's just a little high. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're going to have some funny sun.
Yeah, you got some good sunshine coming through though, Han.
Yes. I know. It's been lovely. And I was like, oh, it'll be fine. And of course, just as 7 o'clock hits, it starts getting like right between the trees. So I'll just kind of.
Yeah. You just like move around as the sun like gets in your face or whatever.
Exactly. So yeah, that's just what that's going to be. But it's nice I get to be back out on my porch finally. It's warm enough that with the heater on out here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hesitate to tell you this because
Don't.
you know that we had like the thunderstorms and the tornadoes and stuff out, tornado warnings and whatnot last night.
Yeah.
It was 70 degrees here yesterday, which is why we had those like ridiculous storm. I know.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah is not bitter. Yes, she is.
Bitter. We haven't had a day over like 50. I think 55 maybe, and we've had maybe 2 in all of March. It's now freaking April. So 70, just don't talk to me.
Okay, I won't mention it again. I won't mention it again.
Yes, you will. Don't lie. Yes, you will. You're such a liar.
Just like rub it in just a little bit more.
You do like to. It's true. So, you are our timekeeper. Is it 7? I don't even know.
It is exactly 8 o'clock my time, which means
Perfect.
It's exactly 7 o'clock your time.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Well then, let us begin. Bibliotalk for March. It finally happened. We did it, although it is now officially April.
It is. It's April now. So this is our Bibliotalk for March, but yes, it is April 2nd, I think, today. Yeah.
Lent hit a lot harder this year than I feel like it has in the past.
Yeah. March kind of got away from us somehow. It just sort of, yeah.
With a couple of illnesses, a couple trips, and yeah, I just kind of was like gone. I have a couple of reviews I need to write for the books that I was going to talk about tonight too, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't do great in March. I really haven't been doing great in 2023 period, and you know what? I really don't. It's really funny how much I don't care.
Like, actually don't care. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The blog is, like, a fun thing. It's supposed to be a fun thing, like, for us to do and for people to, like, participate in when they feel like it's fun to do so. So I feel like no shame, no guilt. Just no like, okay, March happened. It's now April, and we're moving on.
Yeah. And if only 5 books get read in April, that's fine, too.
That's fine, too. Absolutely.
Really, it is what it is. So
yeah. So what good stuff did you read in March? Do tell.
What good? Okay, I read. I don't know if I can call it good stuff. That's my problem. Okay.
Okay. That's fair.
No, I read some stuff and like some stuff that I enjoyed, but like what I just finished, and I'd have to look back. I haven't like got the whole month done, but like the audiobook that I finished earlier this month it's called The Last Wish. It's like it's the first, not the first novel in the Witcher series. It is the first book of short stories that if you've not read the Witcher series, you are supposed to start with.
Okay. I gotcha.
And it was fine. It was fine.
It was fine. Yeah.
I said this to you when you were here that I think, particularly when it comes to fantasy right now, I'm having a hard time being like wowed by anything.
Yeah.
So it was entertaining. I I can certainly understand. I mean, I'm going to go, the way that they have it, that you're supposed to read it if you've not read any of it before, is these 2 books of short stories and then the first novel.
Okay.
So I'm going to do those. I'm going to give it those 3 books. And there's like 2 more novels and then maybe a couple other like short story, like in between things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
But I will give it the 2 short story things. They were entertaining. They kind of follow along with my husband and I watch The Witcher on the Netflix Netflix series and enjoyed it. So I'm not super invested, but it's nice filler. And I'm gonna listen to it on Audible, and then my husband listens to it too. And so I think that'll be fine. So that's that. Yeah, it just wasn't like
did not socks off.
Did not my socks off. And then this was interesting. I have never, so one of my favorite movies from my formative years as teenager is How Stella Got Her Groove Back.
What
from
did you
the
say?
90s.
I have no idea what you just said.
How Stella Got Her Groove Back.
Okay. That time, I literally had no idea what you said. I don't know if it cut out or if you just like said it all as one word. I just was like, I have no idea what you said.
Could not parse that.
I couldn't. So
I loved the 90s, Waiting to Exhale, Terry McMillan, but I actually realized I've never read any of it.
Oh.
So I picked up How Stella Got Her Groove Back. It was on sale at Content.
Yeah.
And I finished it the other day on, I think the last Friday. And it was enjoyable as well.
Oh, good.
It's an interesting, she writes interesting. It's and I'm sure for the 90s it was even more unique in that her writing style is such a stream of consciousness, like that doesn't even have punctuation.
Oh,
right? Like
wow,
so it is very like her, and that's the narrator. Stella is the narrator. And then there's like dialogue moments and like that is happening as well. But like you do get in her head this stream of consciousness that's unpunctuated, which I kind of love actually. Like if you're gonna do it, because like who punctuates their stream of consciousness?
Yeah. I mean, I probably do, but that's because I'm a crazy person.
Well,
if anybody does, it would be like a person like me. But
I mean, the grammar police called. They want their,
I know.
Rules.
I'm just saying, if anybody in their own head would punctuate their own stream of consciousness, it would be you, or maybe me.
And we don't have time for that on this live.
No, we don't. That's a different video altogether. We need a professional here to help us.
Yeah, we need a special guest.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did actually really enjoy it. The movie is just like such a deeply, like, I love that movie. Angela Bassett, Kate Diggs, like, it's so good.
I know.
But it was a lot of fun to read, and I'm a big proponent of, if there's a movie and a book, watch the movie first, then read the book, because you can enjoy the movie for what it is, even if you love the book more. Rarely have I ever watched a movie after reading a book and it had been able to take the movie in any kind of like positive context. So that is my little thing about that. But yeah, it was pretty. I mean, it was good. It was entertaining and fun and like
great,
good literature. So what about you? What do you got?
So I literally had to write my stuff down because I realized like a lot of my stuff this month was on my Kindle because I was traveling a little bit.
Right.
I've listened to a couple books.
Right.
So I didn't have those either. And then a couple from the library. So I literally had to make a list. But I wanted to share, for sure, I wanted to get to a couple nonfiction that I read this month that I really enjoyed. I listened to both of them on Audible. So I'm driving back and forth to work 3 times a week now. So I have a lot more time to listen to books.
Yeah.
So I'm going through like the Audible books really quickly. But the first one that I read was called The Real Valkyrie. The Hidden History of, I had to write it down. I'm reading this off my notes now. So The Hidden History of Viking Warrior Women. And it was by Nancy Marie Brown. And it was this combination. It was kind of this great sort of combination of history and fiction. So basically, the whole like fictionalized story that she wrote was kind of interspersed throughout the chapters that were sort of about historical topics in like Viking era, right? But then she has this a fictionalized narrative of this one particular Viking woman who she based on the historical stuff. But what ended up what happened that sort of triggered her to write this book is this tomb that the skeleton had been found in. This grave was sort of this, like, until very recently considered like the quintessential like male warrior Viking grave, because it had all of the trappings of warrior culture, right? Well, sort of what we understand as sort of Viking warrior culture. So all like the metal tools and the weapons and the, you know, and the regalia and all this sort of horses in there, right? Well, then just recently they ran the DNA because they could do that now. And the skeleton, the person buried there, was a woman.
It's a lady. It's got lady DNA.
She's got lady DNA. So it was sort of this like great, I mean, it was such like this sort of like amazingly like feminist history book that was like weaving like real like history that she'd done her research on, archaeology. She did a lot of like literary analysis of stuff along the way. But then she has this sort of fictionalized narrative of this woman's life, right?
That's really cool.
So great, and I really enjoyed listening to it because the narrator really spoke with the voice of the woman who wrote it, with like Nancy Marie Brown's voice, and she was very sort of unapologetic in how sort of ridiculous our sort of like gendered ideas of what Viking culture looked like, and the impetus for those particular characterizations and so on and so forth. So it was definitely worth listening to. I didn't read it, so I would say it's probably worth reading too, but it was really good to listen to it. I had a blast just sort of like listening to that one. And then the other one that I listened to that you're going to die over, Hannah, was called Gracefully Insane. Subtitle. I have to look for that. Oh, did you read this? Did you read
No, I haven't read it, but no. Continue. Okay. Sorry.
So Gracefully Insane, the rise and fall of America's premier mental hospital. And that hospital is called McLean Hospital, and it's in Massachusetts. It's right outside of Boston.
Oh.
And just for like a frame of reference, like literally everyone who is anyone who is mentally unstable in America has been through McLean. Like when you listen to this book, or if you read this book, so the two like super famous ones that I wrote down so that you would, because you would know them, are Sylvia Plath. Bell Jar. She wrote Bell Jar about her experience at McLean.
Oh, I really need to read that book. It has been sitting on my shelf for years. Have you read it?
I've read it. Yes. Yeah.
I was just thinking maybe that could be our classic next year for our book club.
That's not a bad idea. I want to read it again though, because like now I really have like this great sort of like context, you know, for like what McLean was like when she was there and so on and so forth. And the other one was actually Susanna Kayan's Girl Interrupted. You remember that there was that movie Girl Interrupted? So she wrote that was about McLean. Wow. You know, like that story took place. So anyway, and this was written by Alex Beam, who is a journalist. I think it was, I want to say Boston Globe. Yeah, that would make sense because the McLean is right outside of Boston. So, and he did his research, and it was really good and really interesting to listen to, and how mental health has not only like the institution of it has changed so much, but like how we view mental health and like how we like medicate, how we
just frame it in general, right?
That has changed so much over the time that McLean has been a mental hospital. It's maybe 100 years now, maybe ish. I'm not sure exactly when it opened, but anyway. And I listened to that one as well, and it was really good. That one would be a good one to read though too. Like the narrator didn't add, I don't think, anything really great, but it definitely didn't take away either. But
yeah, I know what you mean though. Yeah.
So yeah, those are the two I definitely wanted to sort of like get in and talk a little bit about, because they were two nonfiction, but I was like, wow, I was like, these are really good.
Well, and I will say the nonfiction that I'm currently reading, and I'm almost done, I'm like an hour away from the end of it on Audible, is The Radium Girls.
Yeah.
Yes,
I love
by
it. I love it. Oh shoot.
Mary Moore or
Give me
something.
1 second. I got the other one over here.
Hattie has that book. This was actually a recommendation. Hattie recommended Radium Girls to me, and she read it last year. Last year.
I read it on Kindle, so I don't have the book, but I have the other one that I bought when I was just with you, and it's Kate Moore. Kate Moore.
Yeah.
And this is the one that I just bought when I was with you. The woman they could not silence, the shocking story of a woman who dared to fight back, and she gets put into mental institution by her husband for basically like having her own opinions and whatnot.
Right. So, and The Radium Girls is the story of radium poisoning, and like, and really, and you had said this to me, Hattie, I didn't quite realize this, but now I'm getting towards the end of it, is like a basis for a lot of the law that now exists around corporations and what they can, and like that they do take responsibility for the health of their employees. It was funny though, because yesterday I was listening to it on the way home. I dropped Zeke off with Mom and Dad, and I was listening to it, and I got home and I'm like, I just want to watch Aaron Brockovich.
Yeah, it has that feel to it.
It does.
It? Yeah.
Yep, it's very much in that same that, you know, the David and Goliath story of people being exploited, and every once in a while, it doesn't happen often, and winning in both of those cases is still winning.
Yeah.
Right. And losing a lot, but it was the legalities and the stuff that comes out of it, and how we, and like what you had mentioned, like the privileges that we have because of those cases and what happened. But it's really well written. I'm listening to it, and it's a really well done audiobook as well. The narrator is really doing a good job of because there's kind of the two stories, one from New Jersey and then the one from Ottawa, Illinois. And so, but being able to kind of like hear the difference of that too, she does a good job. So I have been, like, nonfiction has been fantastic this year. I don't know if I'm just reading better nonfiction or if I'm just, I don't know. I'm not sure what the deal is, but I'm really close to being done with it. I'm like an hour and 40 minutes, I think, till the end of that. So
you're close. Yeah.
But yeah, it is very good. I highly recommend it as well. Kate Moore. So
yes, Kate Moore. Yes, Kate Moore. That one's Radium Girls, and then this one, I think this one she's written since then. Because it says she wrote Radium Girls right on the back. So, and this one is The Woman They Could Not Silence. And I haven't read it yet, but I am very much looking forward to it because I thought Radium Girls was just fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to digging into this one for sure. Yeah. Oh, and the other two that I read, actually, Hannah, that you read both of these, I think.
Yeah.
This month. Are Love Songs of W.B. Du Bois, of course.
That is a piece of fiction that I have read recently that I loved. Now, I did have to listen to that because it is a fatty.
Oh, yeah. Check that one out. That's a big fatty. I'll tell you how many pages are in it. It's like almost 800.
Yeah. So there is a part of me that has just a really hard time literally picking up books that size and being like, I'm going to read this now.
It's a fact.
So I do have it in hard copy, but I did listen to it. Also, incredibly well done Audible.
I didn't listen to it. I actually read it. I did read my copy, actually.
But go ahead. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I was going to say, and I think you and I talked about this. I feel like I said to myself when I was prepping for this, I'm like, I feel like I had this conversation with Hannah, and then I was worried that we did it on here, but I bet we didn't do it on here. I bet we did it elsewhere.
We did. We did it when you were here, when we were chatting. We were finishing
it.
So. Yeah.
So, but I will share with our viewers that what I sort of absolutely adored about this book, of course, and Hannah was not surprised at all, was the history of it, the history parts. I loved. And then the very ending, like the last 100 pages, 100 to 150 pages, I'm like, I wish the whole book was this. Because sort of the main character, really, she comes into her own, and she like figures out that she wants to do this sort of like this history, this sort of like oral history, gathering this oral history of her family, hearing the stories, writing them down. Like this is sort of like near and dear to my heart. I love this so much. And so like that last 100 to 150 pages, I'm like, yes, this is what I love. And that was my favorite part of the book for sure. And if the whole book had been that, I would have been like over the moon ecstatic. That being said, the book was amazing. from
It's really
cover to
good.
cover. It was amazing. The history stories are interwoven into the modern story. Or it's just fantastic, and it was very readable, even for like almost 800 pages. Like I was never like, oh man, I gotta like read some more of that. Oh man, I gotta pick that up and read. I never felt like that. It was always like, okay, I was happy to pick it up and read some more. So it, for being 800 pages long, I think I finished it in a week. I don't think it was an incredibly, it may have been like 7 to 10 days, but it was like not,
that's pretty good.
It wasn't a hard one to pick up and read, you know? Which when you're talking about those longer books, that can be the struggle, is like making yourself pick it up, you know?
It can be.
Like there's no end in sight. So that one was brilliant. Absolutely recommend The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois by Honoré Fenton Jeffers. And then I'm listening to this one.
Yes, I haven't read that.
Oh no, I thought you did. Isn't this your copy?
Yes.
Okay, I have your copy, but I am listening to it because I have all this time in the car now. So I'm like, oh, this is a big fatty also.
It is.
And this is nonfiction.
Yeah.
But can I just say, I love it. I mean, the history of it, of course, like the history in and of itself is horrifying, right?
Right.
Because it's about the Great Migration from the South, Black people coming north in the early and mid, really, I mean, really from like 1915 until like 1975, I think is sort of the
mid-century.
That she's putting in there. Oh, and by the way, it's Isabel Wilkerson, for anybody who wanted to know the author, Isabel Wilkerson.
She also wrote
Cast.
That's it. That's right. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to read that one next. That's why it was right on top.
That's right. I was like, I know there's 2 that she wrote that have been out that are supposed to be absolutely fantastic, and I just have not. Yeah, because they're really
well, and this one's heavy in the sense that the history that she's telling is nasty. Right. You know, like what Black people had to, what they endured. They didn't have to endure, but they had to, in the sense that like this was how it was. Right. What Black people endured, I mean, and are still enduring today, to an extent, you know, and in different circumstances and different contexts, but that's horrifying, right? Like that is it's awful. Okay. So there's no sort of like getting around that. But at the same time, what she's doing is she's telling the stories of three people at this point, but it will eventually sort of like be their family stories as well. But I'm just not that far along yet. Of these migrations, like how this changed their lives, like the reasons, you know, that they decided to, you know, uproot themselves and immigrate, you know, to the northern cities, and why they ended up in the cities that they ended up. And there's just like all this really great history that goes along with that. You know, like a lot of people from one place would end up in, you know, this one place because that's where the trains went. Right. You know?
Sure. Yep. That makes sense. Yep.
So like things like that, you know, that you never really think about or consider until it's like, oh, well, duh, of course that makes sense, you know? Yeah. That's where the train lines went. So that's where, you know, the people coming out of Georgia ended up, you know, kind of a thing. Right. So anyway, it's really great. I just started it maybe last week, I think. Okay. So I'm only a little ways in. I'm not like a super long ways in yet, but it's a big fatty. It's going to take me a while to get through it on Audible, but it's great. And the Great Migration is like one of those things that I feel like I basically almost always paid attention in history class and social studies class, and I don't remember ever getting any kind of information about anything called the Great Migration, about Black people going north. In the United, like in sort of just my standard everyday school, kindergarten through 12 education. You know. Yeah,
I think that sounds right.
Yeah. And it's like it's a really huge important thing. that happened, and so I do feel like it's sort of like this gaping hole in social studies or history in public education, at least when we were there. I don't know what they're teaching now, but I'm just saying when we were going through it, I feel like man, I don't really remember covering that. So I'm glad to be reading it now, and listening to it is fantastic. So listening is great. I haven't obviously I haven't read it myself yet on the book, but listening to it it's been good. So highly recommend that one too. And I am looking forward to the cast book that she wrote as well. Once I'll have to take a little break because it is intense. You know, it's intense. It's
heavy stuff.
Yep.
So, I did pick up a new fiction. This actually, so Hattie and I, when Hattie was here, was that just last week?
Yes, it sure was, actually. I left.
It was.
Yep, I flew home a week ago today.
Seems like a lot has happened since then. But Hattie was here last week, and we went book shopping at a couple of different local bookstores, and excuse me, at Birch Bark Books in Minneapolis. That's right? Birch Bark Books. Yep.
I know, I had to think about it too, but yes.
I picked up this Murder on the Red River, and I just started it yesterday. But it's this set of books. It's called A Cash Black Bear Mystery. So it's a young Indigenous woman who is helping a local sheriff solve mysteries. And this is one, I think there's 3 books right now.
Oh, nice.
And they're award-winning. Local author here in Minneapolis, Indigenous author. And so, yeah, just giving it a shot. And I'm not a huge, this is not my genre, like murder mystery.
You picked it up and I didn't, so you're gonna have to like send that out to
me. Oh no,
when you're done.
I was intending it to make the rounds, for sure. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, again, I'm on page. It's not a hard read. I'm on page 90, and I started it last night. Yeah, and I read for so it goes pretty quick. I'm liking the characters so far. But again, it's not, I mean, it's a solid, entertaining book, as far as I can tell. So we'll see where it goes, but, and the next one, both of them won some awards, but the next one was called Girl Gone Missing and was nominated for the Sue Grafton Memorial Award, and I think has been recognized for a lot of other ones as well. So I'm looking forward to, I think I will try and get that one as well, depending on how this one comes out. But so far, it's good enough for me to read another in the series that might be just one step different. And then I'm still trying to finish my nonfiction from February, Trust Kid.
Trust Kid.
Yeah. Yes. So these are the stories on youth autonomy and fronting adult supremacy, which is really, really good, and I'm really enjoying it. But the problem is, it's one of those books. It's not even very thick. It's not hard at all. It's not. But every time I read one of these, I question my entire life choices. So it just, which is good, but like, if you can write an essay in 3 pages and it make you question all the choices that you make for yourself and your children and the kids that you interact with on a day-to-day basis and your nephews and your niece, like, because adult supremacy is the basis of our society.
Yeah.
And so I do love a book that really pushes at that, but it is definitely like, okay, I can read about how I'm screwing everybody up right now. And it's really, they tried very, very hard and they're doing a very good job. Like, it's not about shame and it's about everyone's on their own journey, but like, if you choose to internalize any of it, it comes with a little bit of like,
okay, yeah, screwed that up yesterday. Yeah.
So it is taking me a lot longer than I thought it would take me, to be perfectly honest. But it is really interesting, and I highly recommend it to people who are interacting with kids. Read it in chunks. That's all I'm going to say. Maybe a good choice. Read it in chunks. Sorry, a lady just stopped at my little free library, so it distracted me.
That's excellent.
I know, that's like the one problem. I got to get those curtains up in here.
Yeah.
But so those are the 2 that I'm currently reading, and then the other one on deck is The Killer of the Flower Moon.
Oh yes, I know. My Killer of the Flower Moon's on deck too. That's our book club book this month. So we have book club next week. So we'll both be reading that like next week. It's not this Thursday, but it's the Thursday after that.
Yeah. We usually start our book club book the Thursday before we have book club. Yeah. Otherwise, we forget what we're talking about.
We'll forget what the heck we even read. If I don't read it the week up to book club, then I'm just like, I can't remember.
I think it's David Gran.
Yes, it is.
Who wrote it?
David Gran. Yeah, I actually have the thing right here.
Yes. And I have read it before. It is very good. If that is one that's been on your list or you've seen it around, it's been out for a couple of years now. It was new. Has an award. It was a finalist for something, but that's okay. I can't think of it right now.
I don't know. If you want to know, I
No,
told Michelle I can go get it.
Fine. But anyway, I'm just going to say it's a really good book if it's one that's been on your list or something that somebody you've been thinking about or wanting to pick up. Yeah, we've become nonfiction people. Well, you've always been a little bit more nonfiction than me, but.
Well, interspersed with all of this stuff that I'm reading, I've read like 3 like junky British mystery books too. Just so you know, I mean, those are there too. I'm just not talking about them anymore because like, how many times can you talk about the same British mystery book in like a new iteration? You know.
I feel like you should just be like, and there's this one, and there's this one. That's what I'm going to start doing with my fantasy, right? I'm like, and there's this one, and there's this one.
They're all basically the same. It's just like, it's my comfort read. I'm just like, that's where I dump that into the comfort read, and like that's what I read on the airplane. You know, airplane ride there, airplane ride back. It's like my Kindle. It's easy. Just
easy peasy.
Yep.
I totally get it. Yep. Yeah. You don't have to sell me on the free read, but
easy read.
Yep.
So really quickly, I just want to say this is one that I got when I was with you, the Essence Serpent. I'm almost done with it. And I'm looking forward to figuring out where it's gonna actually go at the end. And it's also, so this is, I was legit when I posted earlier this week about having to decide if I'm going to put it on my Apple TV watch list because it has Tom Hiddleston in it.
That's a bad thing?
No, that's a good thing.
Oh.
No,
okay. So I want you to put it on your
watch shows. You know how I like to watch shows.
Oh, I'm like, I don't understand why it wouldn't go on your watch list. I mean, you can sit on your watch list for as long as you want, Hattie, until you actually choose to watch it or never watch it. But you can put it on your watch list. That's what I couldn't understand.
But see, you don't understand you do understand this, and you're like, oh yeah, duh. You are like, if it goes on the list, then I have to watch it because then it's something that it's like on my list, and I have to watch it then. Anna, just like I only have one book or one shelf that has books that I have to read on it. Only one. Everything else in my house is basically read. One shelf with books to read on it.
I cannot function this way, so I don't understand, but it's fine. You do you, girl.
And if I put it on the watch list, then I have to watch it. So
okay,
I know.
But if Tom Hiddleston is in it, and if you're liking the book at all, give it a shot.
The bummer is Claire Danes is in it, and she's not my favorite.
Though I will say I'm going to say this. I know Claire Danes isn't your favorite, and I kind of totally get it, but I actually think she's a really good actress.
No, yeah, I think she's fine. She's just sort of.
And that's like the hard part. Like, I think depending on what she plays, it might be really good.
It probably is really good. It was literally like the third thing on like you might want to watch these shows on, when we have Apple TV. So it's like clearly somebody thinks it's something that I would like. And clearly I thought I would like it because I picked up the book.
You picked up the book.
I know. So anyway, we'll see. I'll report back on that if I ever decide to add it to the watch list.
Yeah.
And then that'll be a big step. And then actually watching it'll be a really big step.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what I also just watched this afternoon? I just rewatched Argo.
Oh my gosh.
Really? I agree. Like, I remember, and by the way, I also, my anxiety, like, is off the chart. But it is so well done.
Yep.
I was like, I think I only watched it the first time when I watched it in the theaters, and I knew it was based on a true story, and I sort of knew what was going to happen at the end, because if I didn't, I could never have watched it. I could not have sat there. But, like, at the end of it, I literally looked at my husband and said, I need to go get a shot of whiskey. Like, I'm so tense right now. Yeah. But, like, even in my own basement, having watched it already, knowing how it ended, still so well done.
So well done. I totally agree with you, yeah.
So, I just, apparently, Aaron Brockovich, Argo, I'm doing a lot of nonfiction kind of things. I know, I'm not sure what happened to me.
You're kind of getting weird right now, but you're just in a phase. It's okay. You could be weird some other time. Now you're just being weird for whatever.
I'm just being a little strange right now. I'm not sure what that's about. That's cool.
We go through phases. I won't worry about it.
So I'm in a very nonfiction-y, like, I mean, you can fictionalize my nonfiction. That's fine.
That's fine.
But yeah, I am, like, something about that right now. But yeah,
very good.
It was really good. Sorry. That was a random.
Argo is really good. Yeah, I was just going to tell you it's 8:32, so we can sort of, like, wrap it up, because I felt like we kind of talked about what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. So
we're digressing into television movies. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying.
No.
Like,
there's a lot of relations in between that.
Yeah.
But yes, so thanks for joining us. We're here-ish.
we just want to talk about our books with each other.
So, and we just happen to, like, you know, be more than happy to let anybody who would like to also hear about some books for a little while join us.
Yeah.
So we will probably be back sometime again in April.
Yeah, we will. We'll try to do another one in April.
I'm sure we'll get another one done in April. And then, we'll see where we're at after that.
Absolutely.
So we'll just keep plugging along. But happy reading. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow us for more book recommendations or what not to read.
Yeah,
So we do.
or what to watch too, because we talked about legally at least 2 movies and a show tonight. So
apparently, well, we don't know if we can watch the one yet because Hattie hasn't proved
I haven't
yet.
added it to my list, and I haven't finished the book. So I don't know where she's going to take it at the end. So I am interested to find that out before I really hunker down and make the decision about the show.
Right, obviously. I like it when you say it like it makes sense.
I know. And like it even matters. Like there is like in no way, shape, or form could this ever matter ever.
And even if she takes it to a crazy place that you hate, nothing says the show is gonna do that. I'm just saying, sis. Like I do love it when you say something like it actually like matters.
It makes a difference when it really just it doesn't.
Yes, but
it really
it's
is.
what we do. It's what we do. So
yeah.
All right, well, thank you for joining us, everyone. Happy reading. Let us know what you're reading, and tell us if you want us to check anything out. We always love a good recommendation.
Absolutely.
So,
See you
all
next
right.
time, everybody.
See you next time. Bye.